how could he ever be against it? Well, he goes on to say in the same sentence, but, he says, I believe that sexual preference is something that people are born with. He says, but he also believes that marriage should be between one man and one woman. It's not saying that I'm against gay marriage. So states have always regulated marriage, and if a state wants to have a different definition, you should petition the state legislature to have a political debate, he said. I don't think courts should be making that decision, and I don't believe same-sex marriage is a constitutional right. Well, if marriage is a constitutional right, then same-sex marriage would also be a constitutional right. If marriage is a constitutional right, then same-sex marriage is a constitutional right. I mean, that just follows logically. As I said, they're not really good on logic. So I don't understand how someone can say in one sentence it's not a choice. So if he believes that it's not a choice, he doesn't believe that we should have the equal rights. So if he believes it's not a choice to be black or Hispanic or Asian or a woman, for example, does it also mean that he can curtail the rights of those people as well as he chooses, randomly to say, well, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you have the right to not do what your husband tells you to do and stay home barefoot and pregnant and to have as many children as he dictates. Or just because you're black doesn't mean you should have civil liberties. Or just because you're Hispanic and from Mexico or from another country and you came across here illegally, not all of them are like that, of course, but I'm just saying, if they come across here illegally, doesn't mean you should have rights, whatever, even though he himself is Hispanic. But anyway, so you see my point. So it logically, if you're going to follow the logic of that thinking, that is where you're ending up. And it is illogical. However, this man is running for president of the United States, and I don't think he'll get very far, although people do think he might. I don't know who the Republican contender will be for Hillary Clinton, whom is the one, of course, most of us believe will be the I can't think, presidential candidate on the Democratic side of things. The Republican side, we don't know. It could be Chris Christie. It could be Rubio. It could be, who else is running? Ted Cruz. Ugh. But anyway, the funny thing is, of course, many people have said, please let Ted Cruz and Sarah Palin or somebody run on a ticket because she'll have just an easy time sailing through. But, that scares the shit out of me if that were to ever happen because, it is a possibility that she could lose, of course. Nothing is a shoo-in. We're 18 months out of the actual elections season where we elect the next president of the United States. And so much can happen, just like it did with Obama in his first term before he became president for his first term. No one saw him coming. He was a dark horse, and no pun intended, he was a dark horse, and he was the one that came up from behind and just surprised and shocked everybody. Like, who is this guy? He's a freshman senator, from Chicago, and nobody really knows that much about him, blah, blah, blah. He wrote a couple books, he went to Harvard, but what has he done? And look, he's now a second-term president of the United States of America. So, Hillary thought then also that she might win, and thought she was a shoo-in to some degree, but she didn't. And so anything could happen with this next election, and there's no telling what that's going to be. Let's just pray to God, if you believe in God or Allah or the sun or whatever the fuck you believe in, that the fucking Republicans do not win. Although it is very, very rare for a two-time incumbent president, his party, to continue to stay in office after his second term. It's very, very rare. It's almost always the opposing side that wins the election. Like, for example, with Reagan, 2 terms, and then we had we had 2 terms with him than Bush, like as an example. But after Bush, we had Clinton for 2 terms, and after him, we had, of course, dumbass Bush Jr. for 2 terms, Republican. Then, of course, we had Obama. So, and there's other examples of that as well, excuse me. So I think that it's important to not get ahead of ourselves and to think that definitively she's going to win and that she's going to be the next president of the United States. And I think, I actually didn't know what her actual stance on gay rights was when she announced a couple weeks ago. And I actually said that on my show. Her website did not say anything about her stance on gay rights or liberties or whatever. And I knew to some degree she'd said that she was on the right side, she was on the gay side of things, that she was on our side. but it wasn't really clear as to whether she'd taken a real position on it or whatever. But now she has come out and said that she supports marriage equality, and hopes that the Supreme Court will come down on the side of same-sex couples being guaranteed the constitutional right to be married. So that's great, and that's wonderful. Plus, she also hired a gay campaign manager, which is a big deal. The first gay campaign manager of any presidential electorate, or possible. What the fuck's wrong with me? I can't think of the fucking word I'm looking for. Not incumbent, but I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so that is what's happening in politics, according to us with gay people. One more thing about that, though. Tennessee is trying to make the Bible the official state book. As I was saying, Republicans and the right wing love to conflate religion and government. They love to combine those two things and make them the same, one and the same somehow. And it's a constant battle to try to keep religion outside of our fucking state, out of the state, meaning the government. It is completely ridiculous that we are still fighting the same fight. And, we have done this for so long. The fucking founding fathers were trying so hard to prevent this from happening. So, because the whole reason that they escaped, or initially not them, but the reason this country is founded was because we were trying to escape religious persecution, and so that means freedom from and of religion. So, in this day and age, to still be battling against the same fucking issues as gay people or people of different races or religious backgrounds or whatever is ridiculous. But anyway, Tennessee is trying to make the Bible the official state book. And in Texas, it was even a law passed about putting Moses in as one of the founding fathers, or the founding father of humanity. I mean, seriously. And, not like there was even, first of all, it's ridiculous for obvious reasons, but not even to mention the logic of it is ridiculous and flawed, because there were people before Moses on this earth, which even the Bible, which is ridiculously flawed as well, states. So it isn't exactly like Moses was the first human being. But so apparently he was the founding father of humanity, according to this book. And Texas textbooks are utilized across the country in almost all the states. And they're determined, the content of what is in them is determined by a panel of teachers here. There's actually a movie, I wish I could remember the name of it. I saw a documentary about this about a year ago, maybe 8 months ago or something. And it was all about it was about Texas and the Texas School Book Board, or whatever the fuck it's called, how it was showing the scientists who were, I know what it was. It was something about a science book, okay? And they were the Texas people, legislature people or whatever, people who were on the side of the Texas state, were trying to put that creationism should be included in a science book and that it should be included as an alternative to evolution. And so scientists were, of course, their heads were, exploding, and they kept trying to get it, not put in there. And they ultimately successfully stopped a lot of the bullshit that these creationists were trying to put into the book, the science books that these kids learned from. But they didn't stop some of it, and some of it is still saying that they're showing creationism as an alternative to evolution. And because I kept saying that evolution is a theory. A theory doesn't mean necessarily it's not true or not proven. You can prove a theory, and it has pretty much been proven that evolution is what happened and how we got here. No one's ever proven anything about God or creationism or any of that bullshit. So to actually go on and say that it's on the same level of thinking as a scientific theory that's been proven is bullshit. But, what do you fucking expect? We're in fucking Texas. Laverne Cox posed nude. I can't remember what, I should remember, but I don't remember what magazine or what it was on. Well, she did pose nude, and she said she did it because she wanted to show that African-American women could be attractive because you never see them in magazines, which is not true. There's I could list a dozen or more women we see all the time in magazines, African-American women we see in magazines. and their beauty being celebrated. And so I don't think that's true. I mean, of course, that was true many years ago, but I certainly don't think it's true anymore. I really think she's just using an excuse to pose naked. But she did, and she is transgender, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but, she looks like a woman, as you've seen her. She is a woman because she's transgender, fine. But I'm saying that her legs are very beefy and thick, and they don't look very feminine. So I would advise that she get her muscle tone down on her legs because it doesn't look feminine. But she looked nice. But she was saying she was trying to make African-American women look good. And someone had commented, well, she's trying to make African-American women look good. Why is she wearing a blonde wig? And I think I kind of have to agree with that. Last thing I want to talk about is Tallywackers. Tallywackers is a new restaurant here in Dallas, and it is basically the equivalent to Hooters for men. These men will be scantily clothed and dressed, and they serve a lot of food that's very phallic, like hot dogs and corn dogs and sausages and things like that. And while they're doing it in their underwear or something equivalent, and they're all really nice looking and everything. And it's here in Dallas. It's going to be in the Oaklawn area. Oaklawn is the gay neighborhood here. It's the basic gay area of Dallas. There's several gay areas, but that's the gay area where all the bars are concentrated and that sort of thing here in Dallas. And so they're going to be putting it there. I don't think this is that much of a huge deal or like it's groundbreaking or anything. I mean, we have places that serve food and also have scantily clad men. I mean, it's just called bars usually, So I don't know why it's such a big deal, but they're doing that, and it's gotten national recognition, and so we'll see how that goes. The last thing I want to talk about is that I am doing resurrecting my magazine that I had going for about 2 years ago. And it was a national magazine. Then I had print magazine and also online, and it's called Movement Magazine, and we'll be revitalizing that. I'm hiring new writers as we speak. So if you're interested in writing for the magazine, you can email me at editor, editor, at mootmagazine.com, and I'd be happy to check you out. So I thank you for listening to the show. I'll be back next Tuesday, and you all have a great night. Good night.